Beloved, wealth does not begin in the purse, nor in the bank, nor even in the marketplace. Wealth begins in the mind. The thoughts you allow to dwell within you are seeds, and those seeds will either grow into trees of abundance or thorns of lack. If you would transform your wealth, you must first transform your mindset. So many live as prisoners of limiting beliefs. They say, money is hard to earn. Prosperity is for others, not for me. And as they speak, so it is. Their words become walls, their beliefs become bars, and they live in a self-made prison. But hear this truth: the moment you change your belief, you change your world. Wealth is not struggle. Prosperity is not a mountain to climb with bleeding hands. Wealth is energy. It flows to those whose hearts are aligned with its frequency. When your thoughts are rich, your words are rich, your actions are rich, money rushes to you as streams rush to the sea. Speak it, speak abundance over your life, for your words are commands. Say, I am wealthy, I am prosperous, I am provided for under grace and in perfect ways, and your world must bow to your decree. Every declaration of wealth plants invisible roots that will break through the soil of the unseen and manifest in your reality. Dare to imagine. The power of imagination is the workshop of prosperity. See yourself living in freedom, giving generously, dwelling in peace. What you see with the inner eye, you summon into the outer world, and above all, be grateful. Gratitude is the magnet of miracles. A thankful heart draws more to be thankful for. When you give thanks for the smallest coin, the universe responds with overflowing treasure. Gratitude multiplies, complaint diminishes. Do not let fear rob you. Fear is a thief that slams doors shut. Faith, however, is the master key that opens gates no man can close. Walk by faith, and wealth must walk with you. Remember this: it is not the great leaps, but the daily steps that create momentum. Every day you affirm abundance. Every day you see yourself as prosperous. Every day you align your thoughts with wealth. You build a mighty current that carries you forward. Your outer world is only a mirror of your inner world. Align the inner, and the outer cannot resist. A mind divided produces confusion, but a mind harmonized with abundance produces riches. And so I tell you, transformation is not far, not complicated, not reserved for a chosen few. Transformation is a choice. Choose today to transform your mindset, and wealth must follow. For thought creates destiny, and belief writes the future. Yes, wealth is yours. It waits for your decision. It waits for your transformation. Transform your mindset, and you will transform your wealth. The mind is the seedbed of wealth, the fertile ground from which all prosperity must first grow. Every coin earned, every business created, every empire built, began not with the clinking of money, but with the whisper of a thought. Thought is the first cause, the unseen root from which the visible fruit of wealth appears. Too often people believe that riches lie in labor alone, in chance, or in some external circumstance beyond their control. But the truth is simpler and far more powerful. Wealth begins inside. It begins when an idea is planted, nourished, and allowed to flourish in the mind until it takes shape in the world. The soil of the mind is always producing. Whatever seed is planted there, whether of abundance or lack, must eventually manifest. If you sow thoughts of poverty, fear, and limitation, then scarcity springs forth, no matter how hard you labor with your hands. But if you plant thoughts of wealth, abundance, and limitless opportunity, the soil of your consciousness must yield prosperity in due season. The outer life is nothing but a harvest of the inner life. To change the harvest, one must change the seed. A mind filled with doubt, envy, or bitterness is barren ground, incapable of bringing forth riches that last. Such a mind may catch glimpses of temporary success, but like seed scattered on rocky soil, it cannot endure. True wealth grows where the mind is prepared, watered with faith, and cleared of weeds such as fear and disbelief. The farmer who prepares his land and carefully tends his crop does not doubt that a harvest is coming. In the same way, the one who fills their mind with wealthy thoughts, speaks words of prosperity, and guards against negativity, can rest assured that the harvest of riches will appear. Every invention, every discovery, every fortune ever built was once only a thought in someone's mind. The greatest architects of wealth were not merely laborers of the body, but visionaries of the spirit. They dared to imagine what others could not see, and by holding those pictures firmly in the soil of the mind, they brought them into form. Imagination is the plow that turns the soil, and belief is the sun that warms the seed until it sprouts. Without imagination and belief, the soil lies dormant, producing nothing but weeds of worry and lack. It is not enough to casually think of wealth as a passing wish. The soil of the mind requires consistency. Just as a farmer cannot plant one day and neglect the field the next, so too must one water the seed of wealth daily with affirmations, visions, and gratitude. The thought must be kept alive, protected from the harsh winds of doubt and the choking thorns of fear. In time, it must grow. The law of mind is unchanging. What is planted must grow, and what is nourished must bear fruit. Consider how many people toil endlessly with no greater return than survival, for they never planted seeds of wealth in their own minds. They labor without vision, and so they reap only what the world tosses their way. But the one who holds the seed of wealth within, who declares inwardly, "I am prosperous, I am wealthy, I am provided for," begins to change the soil itself. The subconscious takes these declarations as commands and rearranges circumstances to align with them. Opportunities appear, doors open, people arrive, and the harvest comes forth. The mind is infinitely fertile. It does not question whether the seed is of good or evil, abundance or lack. It simply grows what is planted. That is why one must guard their thoughts with diligence. Do not allow seeds of poverty or fear to be sown, for they will grow as quickly as the seeds of wealth if left unchecked. Instead, sow abundance deliberately, plant prosperity with intention, and nurture those seeds daily. Wealth is not an accident. It is the harvest of the carefully cultivated mind. The greatest riches of the world lie waiting in the unseen soil of human thought. Empires still unborn, fortunes yet unclaimed, ideas that will change generations are resting as seeds, waiting for someone to plant them in the fertile ground of their mind. The one who understands this law can never call themselves poor, for they know that within them lies the true treasure, the power to think, to imagine, to believe, and thereby to create wealth without limit. The mind is the seedbed of wealth, and in that seedbed waits the destiny of abundance for all who dare to plant the right seeds. Beliefs shape reality in ways far deeper than most people ever realize. Every circumstance, every opportunity, every challenge you face is colored by the beliefs you carry within. Beliefs act as lenses, bending the light of life into forms that either empower you or confine you. If you believe that the world is hostile, every encounter feels like a battle. If you believe the world is generous, every day becomes a treasure hunt of blessings. The outer world reflects the inner convictions, and it can be no other way. Beliefs are not idle ideas floating in the mind. They are the builders of experience, the architects of destiny. They tell you what is possible, what is allowed, what you are worthy of receiving. If you believe you are destined for struggle, life will faithfully mirror that belief, bringing endless hardship to prove you right. If you believe abundance flows easily toward you, the same life will bend to deliver evidence of that truth. Reality is pliable, but it always bends in the direction of belief. Consider how two people can stand in the same storm and experience two different worlds. One sees only destruction, loss, and despair, while the other sees opportunity, renewal, and a chance to grow. The storm itself is neutral. It has no meaning apart from the meaning given by belief. The first person's belief locks them in sorrow. The second person's belief propels them toward transformation. What changes is not the storm, but the lens through which it is seen. This is the great secret. It is never merely the circumstances that shape a life, but the beliefs held about those circumstances. Beliefs are powerful because they operate unconsciously. Many are inherited from childhood, absorbed from family, culture, or society, and rarely questioned. A child told repeatedly that money is scarce, that life is hard, that wealth is only for a few, will grow into an adult who carries those same convictions, creating experiences that validate them again and again. The subconscious accepts these beliefs as law, and the outer world adjusts itself to comply. Yet the moment a belief is challenged and replaced, reality begins to shift as well. Change the inner law, and the outer life cannot remain the same. It is not enough to wish for wealth or affirm abundance if deep within you lies the belief that you are unworthy of prosperity. The wish and the affirmation become like seeds scattered on stone. They cannot take root in soil hardened by disbelief. True transformation requires examining the beliefs you hold, pulling out the weeds of lack and limitation, and planting new beliefs that align with abundance. When you believe that you are worthy, capable, and destined for prosperity, life begins to reshape itself to honor that conviction. The invisible power of belief determines how you perceive opportunities. Someone who believes wealth is abundant sees doors where others see walls. They notice connections, resources, and possibilities that a mind bound by poverty thinking overlooks. Belief acts like a magnet, drawing evidence to confirm its truth. This is why those who believe they can never succeed find constant proof of failure, while those who believe success is inevitable find doors opening at just the right moment. Life conspires with belief, not against it. Beliefs are not fixed. They can be rewritten. The mind is not a prison, but a garden, and beliefs are the seeds. Whatever grows there today is simply the result of what was planted yesterday. If those beliefs no longer serve you, you have the power to uproot them and sow new ones. Begin to declare with certainty that abundance is your birthright, that money flows to you freely, that opportunities are all around. At first, the old beliefs may resist, for weeds cling tightly to the soil, but persistence reshapes the ground. With each affirmation, each vision of prosperity, each act of gratitude, new beliefs take root and grow stronger. The world is not carved in stone. It is molded by thought and belief. What seems unchangeable begins to bend the moment you alter your inner conviction. A person once certain they were destined to fail can, by shifting belief, begin to attract success beyond imagination. The poor in spirit can become rich in faith, and that inner wealth becomes outer prosperity. It is never the outer that rules the inner. It is always the inner belief that shapes the outer manifestation. Beliefs are bridges between the invisible and the visible, between thought and form. Every fortune, every achievement, every miracle has been born of a belief held firmly in the heart. So guard your beliefs, for they are the soil in which your future grows. Choose them with care, for they will either shackle you to limitation or lift you into abundance. Know this truth: life is not what happens to you, but what you believe about what happens to you. When you believe in wealth, you will see wealth. When you believe in abundance, you will live abundance. When you believe in possibility, possibility rises to meet you. Beliefs shape reality, and by choosing your beliefs, you choose the very fabric of your destiny. Wealth is energy, not struggle. It is not the grinding of the brow, the endless toil of weary hands, or the constant chase after fleeting opportunities. True wealth flows in alignment with the energy you carry, the frequency of your thoughts, the vibration of your words, and the expectation of your heart. Many have been taught that only through backbreaking labor can riches be attained, that money must be wrestled from the world through sweat and sacrifice, yet those who cling to this belief often labor for years and remain bound to scarcity. Meanwhile, others who align with the rhythm of abundance seem to attract wealth effortlessly, for they understand that money is not earned by force alone, but by harmony with energy. Everything in existence is energy, moving, vibrating, resonating. Wealth is no exception. Money is not simply paper or metal. It is a symbol of energy exchanged, a mirror of value given and received. To align with wealth is to match its frequency, to attune the mind and spirit to abundance rather than lack. Struggle, rooted in fear and desperation, lowers vibration and pushes prosperity away. Energy rooted in faith, joy, gratitude, and confidence, on the other hand, draws wealth like a magnet, for like attracts like. When you radiate abundance, abundance cannot resist you. Think of the river. It flows easily, gracefully, never straining to move. It finds its way around rocks and bends without losing momentum. Wealth is like that river. It flows naturally when you step into its current. Struggle is like trying to push the water uphill with your bare hands, fruitless, exhausting, unnecessary. The river does not need force to move. It needs only direction. Likewise, wealth does not need constant struggle, but alignment. Your beliefs, emotions, and mindset either place you within the flow or keep you standing on the dry riverbank, watching others be carried by its current. There are countless who work endlessly yet remain poor, not because effort is unworthy, but because their energy resists prosperity. They labor under thoughts of never enough, speak words of fear, and carry the vibration of lack. Their struggle repels what they desire most, for energy does not reward desperation. It mirrors it. When you struggle in fear, life multiplies fear. When you work with faith, life multiplies faith. Wealth does not come because you exhaust yourself. It comes because you align with its vibration and allow it to reach you. This is why joy is such a powerful magnet for prosperity. A person who delights in their work, who gives with gladness, who shares their gifts with enthusiasm, radiates energy that calls forth opportunities, connections, and resources. Wealth seeks out such a person, for the universe favors the one who flows, not the one who forces. Struggle may build walls, but joy builds bridges. The energy of gladness, gratitude, and faith opens doors no amount of strain could ever unlock. When you see wealth as energy, you begin to shift your relationship with it. You no longer chase money as though it were a scarce prize hidden away, but you understand it as a frequency you can tune into. Like a radio dial, when you adjust your mindset to the channel of abundance, you begin to hear the music of prosperity all around you. Ideas come, doors open, synchronicities appear. Struggle blocks the signal, but alignment tunes you in. Wealth becomes inevitable, natural, effortless. It is not to say that action is unneeded. Action is the channel through which wealth manifests, but the quality of that action depends on the energy behind it. Actions taken in fear and scarcity are heavy, draining, and yield little fruit. Actions taken in faith and abundance are light, inspired, and produce multiplied returns. The difference lies not in the effort, but in the energy. Inspired action is worth more than years of fearful striving. To embrace wealth as energy is to release the chains of endless struggle. It is to step into the truth that the universe is abundant and that you are meant to share in that abundance. It is to believe that prosperity flows naturally toward you, just as light flows from the sun. It is to carry yourself with confidence, gratitude, and expectation, knowing that the energy you emit is the energy you receive. Wealth answers to vibration, not exhaustion. It answers to belief, not fear. It answers to alignment, not struggle. And so the invitation is simple. Stop fighting against the current. Release the idea that money must be wrung from the world by pain. Step instead into the frequency of abundance and let wealth flow as easily as breath, as naturally as the river finds the sea. For wealth is energy, not struggle, and when you align with that truth, you discover that prosperity was never distant. It was always waiting within you, ready to flow. Words create worlds, for every utterance carries power, every phrase plants a seed, and every declaration sets creation in motion. The spoken word is never idle. It travels into the unseen, shaping circumstances, drawing opportunities, and building realities that echo back into life. From the beginning of time, existence itself was called forth by words. Light appeared because it was spoken. Life unfolded because it was declared, and so it continues. Every individual carries this creative force, whether they wield it in wisdom or squander it in carelessness. Too many speak lack and wonder why they live in scarcity. They say, "I can never get ahead. Money slips through my hands. Life is hard." These words, repeated daily, become decrees stamped upon the subconscious, and the subconscious obeys them without question. Life listens and confirms. More struggle, more lack, more doors closed. Words are not harmless sounds, they are commands. When spoken with conviction, they set in motion energies that arrange people, events, and outcomes to align with what has been said. To curse your own prosperity with words of defeat is to sow weeds in the soil of possibility. But consider the power of words when used rightly. To speak faith is to open gates that no man can shut. To declare wealth, health, and abundance is to plant seeds that must grow in their season. A person who says daily, "I am prosperous, I am guided, I am blessed beyond measure," begins to build an inner fortress of truth. The subconscious accepts the decree, the emotions align, and soon the outer world bends to make it real. Doors swing open, resources appear, unexpected favor arrives, and the declaration takes form. Words are invisible architects, drawing blueprints in the spirit that become houses of reality in the natural. The tongue is a creative tool, yet many wield it recklessly. Idle complaints, sharp criticism, self-belittling jokes, all these carry energy that shapes life in ways unseen. Every time you speak, you are sowing a seed. Some plant roses, others plant thorns, but both will reap a harvest. To transform your life, you must transform your speech, for your words are the first drafts of your destiny. Speak only what you wish to see, and guard your tongue against uttering what you do not desire. Silence is better than careless speech, and a single word of faith carries more weight than 1,000 words of fear. Even the atmosphere around a person is shaped by their words. Enter the room of one who constantly complains, and the air is heavy, charged with negativity. Enter the presence of one who speaks hope, gratitude, and abundance, and the very air feels lighter, as if possibility hums all around. This is not imagination. It is the real force of words, shaping the vibration of life. Words create atmospheres, and atmospheres create experiences. Choose words that lift, and your life will lift. Choose words that empower, and your life will expand. Words also direct the mind. What you say, you hear, and what you hear, you begin to believe. To speak aloud is to write upon the tablets of your subconscious. Affirmations are not empty phrases. They are chisels carving new beliefs into the soul. Repetition strengthens them until they are no longer simply spoken, but lived. The one who daily declares abundance will begin to feel abundant, and soon they will act abundant, and eventually they will manifest abundance. The circle is complete. Words plant belief, belief directs action. Action creates results, and results confirm the words once spoken. It is not enough to speak once. The creative word requires consistency. Just as the earth responds to continual rain, the subconscious responds to repeated declaration. Say it until it saturates your spirit, until doubt has no soil left to root in. Say it until your words are not just sounds but convictions. Then watch as life bends to the decree. For the world you live in tomorrow is built by the words you speak today. To understand that words create worlds is to realize that you are never powerless. Even in the face of lack, you can speak abundance. Even in the valley of fear, you can declare faith. Even in the shadow of impossibility, you can proclaim possibility. And life, by its unbreakable law, will begin to shape itself according to your declaration. Speak light into darkness, wealth into emptiness, peace into chaos, and you will witness the miracle of creation unfolding before your eyes. For words are not mere sounds, they are seeds of destiny. Choose them wisely, for they are building the world you will inhabit tomorrow. Imagination is the workshop of prosperity, for everything that exists in the world first began as an image within the mind. Every building you see, every invention you use, every fortune ever created had its origin in imagination before it found its way into form. The unseen precedes the seen, and imagination is the bridge between the two. It is not a fleeting fancy or idle daydream. It is the mighty forge where ideas are hammered into vision, where vision takes shape as belief, and where belief becomes reality. To neglect imagination is to deny yourself the very tool by which prosperity is born. The prosperous person understands that imagination is not play, is creation. When you imagine yourself as wealthy, abundant, and free, you are not indulging in fantasy. You are preparing the soil of your destiny. The subconscious mind responds most powerfully to images, and imagination paints those images with bold strokes. What you vividly picture and hold in your mental vision sets the pattern for your outer world. Prosperity does not come from constant struggle or worry, but from the ability to see it first in the mind's eye. You must live it inwardly before you can hold it outwardly. Think of the great inventors, entrepreneurs, and creators throughout history. Before they carved fortunes, before they built empires, before they changed the world, they first allowed imagination to soar beyond limitations. They saw what no one else saw, and because they dared to hold the picture, they drew it into existence. The one who cannot imagine wealth cannot experience wealth, for the inner picture precedes the outer manifestation. Imagination is the womb of all possibility, and those who use it wisely are midwives of abundance. When you dwell on lack, imagining only debt, failure, and loss, you are unconsciously using the same workshop against yourself. The imagination does not discriminate. It produces according to the images you feed it. Dark images bring forth dark results. Radiant visions bring forth radiant outcomes. This is why you must guard the gates of your imagination, choosing carefully what pictures you hold, what scenarios you entertain, and what futures you allow yourself to envision. To imagine catastrophe is to invite it. To imagine prosperity is to summon it. Imagination is impartial. It builds what it is given. To use imagination as the workshop of prosperity, you must enter into the vision with your whole being. See it clearly, feel it deeply, walk in it as though it already belongs to you. If you imagine abundance, imagine the home, the freedom, the giving, the ease of spirit that wealth brings. Let the vision be so real within you that your emotions rise to meet it. Emotion charges imagination with energy, and energy attracts form. When the picture within is vivid and alive, the universe begins to conspire to bring it into reality. Ideas appear, opportunities unfold, people are drawn into your orbit, and circumstances align with the vision you held within. There is no poverty in the imagination unless you put it there. It is an infinite workshop, stocked with every possibility. You may choose to picture obstacles, or you may choose to picture breakthroughs. You may choose to see scarcity, or you may choose to see overflowing supply. The power lies in your choice. The images you hold most consistently will become the blueprint of your life. You cannot continually imagine defeat and expect victory. You cannot constantly see yourself small and expect greatness. Imagination will not betray you. It will only create according to what you supply. When faith joins imagination, the workshop becomes unstoppable. Faith seals the image with certainty. Faith declares, "This is not only possible, it is mine." Then the image is no longer a distant dream, but a living reality in the unseen, soon to press itself into the scene. Prosperity flows where imagination has already paved the way. Those who live richly in mind will eventually live richly in matter. So never dismiss your imagination as fanciful or unimportant. It is the place where fortunes are born, the canvas on which wealth is painted, the laboratory where possibility is tested and refined. Spend time each day in this workshop, shaping images of abundance, picturing yourself as prosperous, free, generous, and fulfilled. The more vividly you imagine, the more powerfully you create. Prosperity does not begin in the bank account. It begins in the mind's workshop. And once the image is complete and faith holds it steady, nothing can prevent it from becoming real. Gratitude magnetizes wealth because it shifts the entire vibration of the soul into alignment with abundance. When one gives thanks, not only for what is already present, but also for what is unseen and yet to arrive, they open the floodgates for more to flow in. Gratitude is not a passive feeling. It is an active force that pulls riches, opportunities, and blessings toward the individual who practices it faithfully. Just as a magnet draws iron without effort, so does gratitude draw prosperity without struggle. It transforms the atmosphere of the heart and creates a powerful field of attraction where wealth cannot help but be drawn. Many people spend their days focusing on what is lacking. They speak of bills, debts, obstacles, and missed opportunities. In doing so, they magnify scarcity and push abundance further away. But the one who stops to give thanks for every small provision, every open door, every moment of favor, sends out a vibration that calls for more. Gratitude multiplies whatever it touches. A thankful heart finds increase, while a complaining spirit finds decline. Wealth is not only measured in numbers, but in the richness of experiences, relationships, and opportunities. Gratitude awakens the awareness of these treasures, and in turn, attracts more to be thankful for. Gratitude also changes the inner vision. When you live with thanksgiving, you no longer look through the lens of lack, but through the lens of sufficiency. You begin to see possibilities where others see dead ends. You notice opportunities that were hidden in plain sight because your heart is tuned to receive. The grateful mind is creative, open, and expectant. It is in this state that wealth ideas are born, that solutions appear, and that intuition guides you to prosperous paths. Wealth is not something stumbled upon by chance. It is something magnetized by the inner condition of the soul. Gratitude is that condition. It is not enough to be thankful when all is well. True power is found when gratitude is expressed even in times of difficulty. To give thanks in advance is to declare faith in the unseen abundance already moving toward you. This act of gratitude creates a magnetic field so strong that obstacles must dissolve and pathways must clear. The universe responds to thanksgiving with multiplication, for it recognizes gratitude as acknowledgement of abundance already present. When you say, "I am grateful," you declare that you already possess, and possession in spirit precedes possession in form. Gratitude also heals the relationship with money itself. Many view wealth with suspicion, guilt, or fear, and in doing so, they unconsciously repel it. But when you begin to bless money, to give thanks for every amount, large or small, you purify your energy around it. You treat money as a friend, not an enemy, and as a friend it gladly returns to you with reinforcements. The grateful person does not chase wealth in desperation. They magnetize it by radiating joy, contentment, and peace. Wealth seeks out environments where it is welcomed, honored, and appreciated, and gratitude creates precisely that environment. The practice of gratitude must be consistent, for the magnet grows stronger with use. A daily ritual of giving thanks strengthens the field of attraction, ensuring that wealth continues to flow. It is not about empty words, but about genuine acknowledgement, feeling deeply the blessing of what is, while also welcoming what is yet to come. Over time, gratitude shifts the very identity of the individual. They no longer see themselves as striving or lacking, but as abundant beings surrounded by endless supply. In this identity, wealth finds a natural home. To magnetize wealth, begin each day with gratitude. Give thanks for the air you breathe, the opportunities before you, the lessons learned, the guidance received, and the resources at hand. Give thanks for the money you have, no matter how much, and bless it as a seed destined to multiply. Give thanks for the wealth on its way, even if unseen, for gratitude spoken in faith is the magnet that draws it near. The grateful soul cannot remain in lack, for gratitude continuously calls forth increase, expansion, and prosperity. Wealth is not attracted to the anxious, the complaining, or the fearful. It is magnetized to the grateful, for gratitude carries the vibration of sufficiency, trust, and joy. To live in gratitude is to live as though abundance is already yours, and when you live this way, life must respond in kind. Gratitude turns the invisible into the visible, the promise into provision, the potential into prosperity. It is the silent force that multiplies blessings and the magnetic current that draws wealth closer with every thankful word spoken. Fear repels, faith attracts, for these two forces are opposites that shape the course of destiny. Fear is a wall that shuts out opportunity, while faith is a door that swings wide to welcome abundance. Every thought, every emotion, every expectation sends out a signal, and that signal either invites wealth or drives it away. Fear whispers of scarcity, danger, and failure, and in believing its lies, one unconsciously pushes away the very good they desire. Faith, however, declares possibility, supply, and victory, and by its confident vibration, it draws prosperity like a magnet pulling metal. The unseen responds to the posture of the heart, and the heart filled with faith cannot remain poor, for wealth must come to answer the call. Fear keeps people bound in smallness. They hesitate, delay, and refuse to act because fear paints pictures of loss and disaster. They are afraid to invest, afraid to step out, afraid to speak their vision, afraid to shine. Fear creates a shrinking world where doors appear locked and opportunities slip through the fingers. Wealth cannot dwell in such a climate, for it thrives in the atmosphere of expansion, risk, and boldness. Fear repels wealth because it signals to life itself that the person is not ready to receive. The hand closed in fear cannot grasp the blessing that is offered. Faith, on the other hand, enlarges. It does not demand to see before it believes. It believes, and therefore it sees. The faithful heart moves forward even when the path is uncertain, because it knows that provision will meet it along the way. Faith speaks in the language of abundance. There is always enough. What I seek is seeking me. Supply flows to me in perfect timing. These words, charged with conviction, send out currents that rearrange circumstances and draw resources. Faith attracts wealth not through struggle, but through alignment. When you believe with unwavering certainty, opportunities arise, ideas appear, allies gather, and doors open as though by invisible hand. Fear also poisons the imagination. It fills the mind with worst-case scenarios, with images of lack, failure, and loss. The subconscious, obedient to these images, begins to reproduce them in outer form. The fearful person lives in constant rehearsal of disaster, and life obliges by delivering what has been rehearsed. Faith purifies the imagination by filling it with visions of success, prosperity, and joy. The faithful person rehearses abundance inwardly until it feels natural, and life answers with outward demonstration. The imagination is always at work. Fear misuses it, while faith sanctifies it. Wealth is deeply connected to energy, and fear lowers energy to the vibration of scarcity. It attracts delay, confusion, and stagnation. Faith lifts energy to the vibration of abundance, attracting clarity, flow, and multiplication. Consider the one who fears losing money. They hold back, shrink, and miss opportunities. Their fear repels wealth, because wealth requires circulation and movement. Now consider the one who believes wealth flows freely. They give generously, invest boldly, and act confidently. Their faith attracts more wealth because wealth loves movement and expands in circulation. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is certainty anchored in the unseen. It is the inner knowing that provision exists, that the universe is abundant, and that wealth is one's divine right. This knowing sends out a steady current, unwavering and irresistible. Fear is shaky and inconsistent, and wealth cannot find stability in such an atmosphere. Faith is firm and radiant, and wealth is drawn to it like moths to light. The world may say, "See first, then believe," but prosperity's law declares, "Believe first, then you will see." The choice between fear and faith is made daily, sometimes moment by moment. Every decision either repels or attracts. Every thought is a seed, and the harvest depends on whether it was sown in fear or in faith. To walk in fear is to close oneself off from life's treasures, but to walk in faith is to swing the gates wide open to infinite supply. When doubt arises, one must choose again, declaring with boldness, "I believe in abundance. I believe wealth is mine. I believe doors open for me." Such declarations dissolve fear's grip and strengthen the field of attraction. The great secret is that fear and faith cannot occupy the same space. One must give way to the other. When fear is entertained, faith withdraws, and when faith is embraced, fear dissolves. Wealth knows where it is welcome, and it will always gravitate toward the one who believes. Life mirrors the dominant attitude, and when that attitude is faith, abundance becomes inevitable. Fear repels, faith attracts. This is the law, unchanging and eternal. To choose faith is to choose wealth, for faith is the open hand that receives all that life is ready to give. Daily consistency creates wealth momentum because true prosperity is not the result of sudden luck or isolated efforts, but of steady, intentional actions repeated over time. Just as a river carves valleys not in a single rush, but through persistent flow, wealth is built by the quiet discipline of showing up each day with purpose and focus. Momentum does not appear overnight. It is cultivated through small, deliberate steps that compound into unstoppable force. When one commits to consistency, they awaken a power greater than bursts of inspiration or fleeting motivation. The power of momentum that makes success inevitable. Consistency builds trust with life itself. When you move in a steady rhythm, keeping promises to yourself and taking aligned action day after day, you demonstrate readiness to handle greater responsibility. The universe entrusts more to the one who has proven dependable. A person who practices daily disciplines, whether in managing money, cultivating skills, affirming abundance, or expanding opportunities, signals that they are prepared for increase. Wealth avoids the careless and drifts toward the diligent, for prosperity seeks stability. Consistency is the language of stability, and stability attracts abundance. Each day's action, no matter how small, contributes to the greater momentum. A coin saved, a connection made, an idea recorded, a moment spent in gratitude, all are seeds sown into the soil of wealth. Alone, they may seem insignificant, but together they gather force. Just as a snowball rolling downhill gathers size and speed, so do consistent actions multiply in effect. Over weeks, months, and years, the compounding of small efforts produces a momentum so strong that wealth flows almost effortlessly. What once required effort becomes natural, and what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Inconsistency, however, breaks the flow. Starting and stopping dissipates energy, while steady rhythm multiplies it. Many fail not because they lack vision, but because they lack the persistence to show up daily. They expect instant harvests without the patience of planting and watering. But the one who understands momentum knows that each consistent act is a stroke of the oar moving the ship steadily forward, even if the shore is not yet in sight. Faith combined with daily discipline ensures that the destination will be reached. Consistency also reprograms the subconscious mind. Each repeated action and affirmation engraves deeper patterns of wealth consciousness. The mind begins to believe, and once it believes, it creates. A person who daily affirms prosperity and takes steps in alignment with that belief begins to live as though wealth is natural. This identity then attracts corresponding experiences. Inconsistency confuses the subconscious, while consistency builds unshakable conviction. Once conviction is established, the outer world must align with it. Momentum generated by daily consistency also carries one through obstacles. Challenges that would discourage the inconsistent become stepping stones for the consistent. The daily rhythm creates resilience, and resilience transforms setbacks into lessons that accelerate progress. Momentum makes quitting harder than continuing, for the flow of discipline carries you forward even when emotions waver. Wealth comes not to the one who acts occasionally, but to the one who acts faithfully, regardless of mood, circumstances, or temporary results. There is great power in the ordinary day. Most people wait for extraordinary moments to change their lives, but momentum is built in the quiet, unseen hours of daily practice. Reading, learning, saving, speaking affirmations, taking opportunities, refining skills, all these daily investments create the foundation of prosperity. Extraordinary wealth is born from ordinary days repeated with faith and discipline. The glamorous results others admire are simply the harvest of consistency few were willing to maintain. Wealth momentum is not rushed, nor is it stagnant. It is a steady climb that gains speed until it becomes unstoppable. Each day you show up, you push the wheel a little further, and soon the wheel begins to turn on its own power. Opportunities start to chase you, money begins to multiply, and abundance flows as a natural consequence of the momentum you have built. This is the secret of the prosperous. They did not depend on chance, but on daily faithfulness that created inevitable momentum. When you understand that consistency creates momentum, you stop chasing quick fixes and start embracing daily disciplines. You realize that the wealth you desire is not a distant dream, but the natural outcome of steady action aligned with faith. With each consistent step, momentum grows stronger, and with momentum, wealth cannot be stopped. It must flow, it must multiply, it must find its way to you. For daily consistency is the silent engine of prosperity, and once it begins to move, it carries you into realms of abundance greater than you ever imagined. Inner alignment precedes outer prosperity because life always reflects the state of the inner world. The thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and attitudes held within form the blueprint that the outer circumstances faithfully follow. Prosperity cannot flow into a mind divided by doubt, fear, and contradiction. A person may work tirelessly, striving for wealth with every outward effort, but if inwardly they carry beliefs of unworthiness, scarcity, or conflict, those efforts will be sabotaged by the very vibrations they emit. True abundance begins within, as harmony between thought, feeling, and belief. Once this alignment is established, the outer world has no choice but to mirror the wealth already rooted in the soul. Inner alignment is the state of agreement between what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. Many desire prosperity but speak words of lack, or they take action toward wealth while secretly believing they do not deserve it. This creates inner division, and division repels prosperity. The aligned individual, however, thinks thoughts of abundance, feels the joy of already possessing it, and believes in their heart that wealth is natural and inevitable. This alignment sends out a clear, unified signal to the universe, and life responds with clarity, favor, and increase. The subconscious mind plays a central role in this alignment. It accepts whatever is impressed upon it, whether by repeated thought, strong emotion, or consistent action. If the conscious mind declares prosperity but the subconscious holds poverty beliefs, the subconscious will dominate, for it governs most of life's patterns and outcomes. This is why inner alignment requires reprogramming of old beliefs, replacing thoughts of scarcity with affirmations of abundance, and cultivating emotions of gratitude, joy, and expectation. When the subconscious is aligned with prosperity, wealth begins to flow as naturally as the tide. Emotions are also a vital part of alignment. A person may say, "I am prosperous," but if they feel anxious, fearful, or doubtful, the emotion contradicts the affirmation. The vibration of the heart is stronger than the words of the lips. Inner alignment means that thought and feeling move together in harmony. To imagine wealth while feeling the joy of its presence is to align fully with abundance. This inner joy magnetizes opportunities, ideas, and resources. Prosperity does not come to those who merely wish. It comes to those who already feel its presence within. Alignment is not achieved once and for all. It is cultivated daily. Each moment offers a choice to focus on fear or faith, lack or sufficiency, struggle or flow. Consistent practice of gratitude, visualization, affirmations, and faith-filled action strengthens alignment. Over time, the mind accepts abundance as normal, the emotions stabilize in expectancy, and the heart radiates confidence. At this point, outer prosperity unfolds almost effortlessly, for it is simply the natural reflection of the inner state. Consider how misalignment sabotages wealth. Someone may work hard yet constantly dwell on fear of failure. Another may pursue opportunities but secretly believe money is evil or fleeting. Others may affirm prosperity but feel resentment or jealousy toward those who have it. In each case, inner division blocks the flow of abundance. Outer prosperity cannot stay where inner harmony is absent. The first work is not to strive harder outwardly, but to align inwardly. When inner alignment is reached, prosperity flows not through force, but through resonance. Ideas come at the right time, doors open without struggle, and resources appear with ease. This is not coincidence. It is the magnetic power of alignment. Life mirrors the vibration of the soul, and when the soul is aligned with abundance, life has no choice but to deliver it. Outer prosperity is never separate from inner prosperity. To change the outer, you must first adjust the inner. Wealth, therefore, is not something pursued, but something allowed. Inner alignment clears the channels for its natural flow. When the mind believes, the heart feels, and the actions express prosperity, the outer world harmonizes in response. The struggle ends, and abundance becomes a natural state of being. This is why so many who chase wealth never find it, while those who align inwardly seem to attract it without effort. The difference is not in fortune, but in alignment. The law is simple yet profound. Inner alignment precedes outer prosperity. What is held within the soul writes the script for the outer stage. When thoughts, feelings, and beliefs stand together in harmony with abundance, prosperity becomes inevitable. Wealth cannot resist the pull of an aligned spirit. To change your world, change yourself within. for the outer is only the shadow of the inner. Align with abundance in thought, in feeling, and in belief, and soon you will stand in the reality that perfectly mirrors the wealth already alive inside you. Transformation is a choice, for no change comes by accident, and no life shifts without decision. Every person stands daily at a crossroads between remaining as they are or stepping into the higher version of themselves. The power to choose is the greatest gift given to humanity, and with it comes the responsibility to shape destiny. Some believe transformation requires perfect timing, outside permission, or circumstances aligned like stars, yet the truth is far simpler. Transformation begins the moment one decides. It is not fate that binds or liberates, it is choice. With every choice, one either reinforces the old patterns of limitation or welcomes the new path of growth and abundance. Transformation begins within, not in the world around. Circumstances may be hostile, resources may be scarce, and challenges may press heavily, yet none of these have the authority to stop an individual who chooses to change. Countless people have risen from poverty, despair, and defeat into wealth, joy, and victory because they made a choice to see themselves differently. They chose to believe they were worthy, capable, and destined for more. That single choice becomes the seed from which an entirely new life blossoms. Without the choice, nothing shifts. With it, everything is possible. Many delay transformation, telling themselves they will change when conditions improve, when they feel ready, or when someone else gives them an opportunity. But waiting is a form of avoidance, and avoidance keeps the soul chained to the same cycles. Transformation does not wait for conditions, it creates them. The decision itself begins to rearrange the universe. When you choose transformation, doors appear that were hidden, opportunities unfold that seemed impossible, and strength rises from within that you never knew was there. Choice sets creation in motion. The path of transformation is not always comfortable, for it requires leaving behind what is familiar. Old habits, limiting beliefs, and destructive patterns cling tightly, resisting the birth of the new self. Yet choice cuts through resistance. Every time you choose to act differently, to think differently, to speak differently, you weaken the chains of the past and strengthen the future calling you forward. Transformation is never about perfection. It is about consistency in choice. Small decisions, repeated daily, compound into a complete renewal of life. Transformation is also a declaration of authority. It says, "I am not a victim of circumstance. I am the author of my destiny." Many surrender their power to fear, doubt, or the opinions of others, and so they remain unchanged. But the one who reclaims their power of choice rises above limitation. They realize that transformation is not forced upon them, but invited by them. No one else can choose for you. The choice must be your own, and once it is made with conviction, the whole universe aligns to honor it. Choice is not merely mental, it must be embodied. To choose transformation is to back decision with action, to live in agreement with the new path. Saying, "I choose abundance," means nothing unless actions align with abundance. Unless money is treated with respect, opportunities are embraced, and thoughts are disciplined toward prosperity. Saying, "I choose growth," means acting in ways that foster learning, resilience, and progress. Transformation requires that the choice be lived, not only spoken. Each lived choice chisels away the old self and shapes the new. What makes choice so powerful is that it can be made at any moment. No matter how long one has walked in failure, lack, or fear, at any instant they may choose to transform. The past has no authority over the present decision. The door to change is never locked. It waits only for the hand of choice to turn the handle. The one who chooses today sets in motion a destiny greater than they could imagine. And the longer they walk in that choice, the more momentum they gather until transformation becomes irreversible. Ultimately, transformation is not something granted by chance or imposed from outside. It is the sovereign decision of the soul to rise, to grow, to expand, to prosper. Every individual has within them the authority to choose differently, and by doing so, to create a different life. The power is not in waiting, wishing, or hoping. It is in choosing now. Transformation is a choice, and the moment that choice is made, the future begins to bend, reality begins to shift, and a new life starts to unfold.